You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
What's happening today, guys? Today we're chatting with Taylor Grieger. I love this guy's message. He's sailed through the planet's deadliest waters in order to end veteran suicides and has returned to build a tequila company that will continue funding their expeditions. Taylor, welcome to the show.
All right. Yeah, man. I'm super pumped to be here, honestly.
Good, man. Good. Well, thank you. I'm pumped to have you to hear a little bit more about, Cape Horn Tequila. So let's tell our listeners something maybe interesting about yourself and also where you're calling in from today.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm sitting in Galveston, Texas right now. It's kind of been my home base whenever I'm not down in Patagonia. Interesting about myself is if I'm not selling tequila, then I'm sailing in Patagonia. Working on the next expedition down to Antarctica this next winter. So
hell yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm a yachter myself. I have a yacht business in Newport Beach, but I'm selling that, knock on wood, in escrow right now, that company. But maybe I just never learned how to sail, but maybe I'm just used to having a beer in my hand and I need two engines, so it's easier. But I know it's more of a sport in the sail side, but I definitely want to pick it up here in Puerto Rico because there is a ton of amazing wind all the time. And there's some good sailing going on. Definitely a lot of kite surfing. But I was telling you earlier, if you're watching this Business and Life peeps, you'll see that I look like probably an angel right now because it's all lit up in the back and I'm just sitting here with shadows on me because I got a broken lamp that I just broke earlier because we have zero power. I'm on a generator backup power. We've had, while I'm recording this, over the past 72 hours, we have three 6-point plus earthquakes here in Puerto Rico. So the entire island is out of power, and it has been for about 72 hours. But since this is a priority, I want to make sure we give you guys a daily update on podcasts. So that's the game plan for me and my commitment. But I'm stoked to have Taylor on the show to talk a little bit about his journey and some of your information. I want to hear about what you kind of got going on right now. So tell us about Cape Horn Tequila.
Yeah, man. Well, it started, a year ago. Is when the tequila actually came to fruition. When I was down around Cape Horn, I was sitting there with the crew and we were trying to figure out how to keep on sailing veterans around and how to bring people down to Patagonia to give them that time to adjust back to the civilian world when they get out of the military. And the only way we could think of doing it was, creating our own company that could fund these expeditions ourselves. Because I can't tell you enough how many times we got in a bad position where we worked with other nonprofits, other companies to keep these expeditions running. And, a lot of times we just got left out in the dust and it put us in a really bad spot. So when we finally made it to Cape Horn, the question was, well, how do we do this again? How do we keep these things going? And I was like, the only other good thing I'm at in this world is tequila. So yeah, man, I came back to the States and went back to Mexico. Again, lived there for a while, trying to find the best soil, best agave. And I think anything you're going to do, you got to overdo it. Anything
Right.
worth doing is overdoing it. So that's what it came down to. And, I found the agave and made the tequila. Now it's as simple as like a lemonade stand when you're a little kid, man, selling lemonade to get the boat. So I'm selling tequila to keep the expeditions going.
That's good. I like the why. I like the why behind it, right? Like, sure, it's tequila. Where'd you go, by the way? Jalisco? Where'd you go in Mexico?
Yeah, Jalisco is a good place to start, man. There's a good base. Like that's kind of like the agave congregation.
Right.
Like everybody that deals in agave, you go out of Jalisco, and then you can go to Tequila, Mexico. Then you can start working to like the big farms, and anywhere in that radius, like a 2-hour driving radius, you can drive around the farms and meet the people that actually work the fields and stuff. And the good ones will welcome you in and talk to you about tequila all day long because they love it. So yeah,
where are you guys focused right now in terms of the company? Where are you working on being distributed? Where are you distributed? Is it a lot of word of mouth sales for the tequila?
Right now, we actually don't have a major distributor. A lot of the tequila is still down in Mexico, which I thought was kind of cool for this podcast because it's a different perspective. Like you talk to a whole lot of people that are already established and whatnot. And I'm not established in the tequila industry yet. And so I think there's a lot that I'll be able to bring to the table. I think somebody will pick it up here. But anyways, we're looking for a big or a way to distribute here in Texas. So right now it's a lot of word of mouth. It's a lot of tastings and it's a lot of like events. People can't buy it yet, and that's one of the biggest challenges I think we're going through right now is finding the right people to work with. think I came into this industry thinking, people that love tequila should be genuine, good, happy people. But man, I can't tell you, there's so many people in this industry that are just not cool. Not cool.
Yeah, you're in the liquor industry, man. I worked for Bacardi USA for years, and understood that through the brands that we all had, and obviously also had a tequila brand, and Casadotes Tequila that was obviously from the Highlands of Jalisco. But from a business perspective, it's a tough industry, and I think we can kind of angle this call and this podcast on, I think, a couple of ways. One, I would love to help if I can. Let's talk about some ideas and some challenges you're having, and maybe I can throw it out there because, believe it or not, obviously not believe it or not, definitely we all know that there's entrepreneurs out there that are listening that are in the same boat, but also it helps from a message standpoint, right? Like we want to be able to find out what those challenges are, and then also some of your experiences with those challenges that you're currently having, because whether it's selling tequila or selling lemonade or selling something
Right.
online, like you mentioned, those challenges will continue. So what would you say your biggest challenges are right now?
I mean, other than breaking into the industry, just getting in, and that goes into a lot of things to start up. Like I had this problem with sailing whenever I started the expeditions, especially when you tell people you're sailing to Cape Horn. It's about as equivalent as telling somebody you're bringing a new tequila into the industry. Anybody you tell that to, they're like, no, you're not. You'll never do it. You can't do that.
Of course.
And then, then they say that and you're like, okay, I'll come back. I'll be back here in a year. Watch this. Then
Right.
that just kind of lights the fire. And I think
Definitely use that as fuel for sure. Because although it's challenging, it's like what industry isn't, right? And
Right.
we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I think a lot of times it's, my advice I think to you would be realizing, understanding, reverse engineer what the game plan is and the goal. Like, do you have to be everything to everybody like all these other tequilas? No, you don't. Right? You don't have to be on every bar shelf, and so. I think creating a niche within a large industry is really important, and finding a story behind it. If you think about any kind of business, and even more importantly, I think in the spirits and wine industry, the story really sells it, man. And you probably have heard this, but creating that story behind it is what people remember. People don't know what the hell. Some of these wines taste like shit, but they have the best story behind them. And they're just like, oh, this is great. This is the best wine ever because I'm this wine connoisseur. Taste it. You smell the aroma. And it's like, no, whatever. But they have this, honestly, like I even had the VP of Gallo before that worked for us on a different brand in the past. And he was like, it's story. It's branding. And if you don't have those dollars, then all you have is the story. The story will resonate and be, and this is any different product and service that's out there if you guys are listening, but you got to have that story behind your business. Who started it, why they started it, and that why, the what's already there. It's tequila, right? The quality of it, sure, we want to talk about the quality of it, but there's a story behind it and about why you started it. And so I would definitely focus on that because that kind of stuff spreads from a peer-to-peer standpoint outside of actually just let me see if I can sell this at a good price point and be competitive in the market, because that can be a little bit harder. But if it's a quick, easy, simple, impactful story that a bartender and or a person at Bevmo or in Mexico, by the way, can understand and relate to, you could really start impacting some people, and it starts moving that way from peer-to-peer marketing.
I'm with you, man. 100%. I think that's another reason why we really want to come to this market. Because I came back to the States, especially when I came back from the military. I first came back and you see all these people, just these big names, big brands, and it's all about just selling products, and which is understandable. You have to do that, but from where I'm coming from, is like, you could do so much more, man. If you had this many resources, why aren't you helping the community? There's so many problems, like in the veteran community, so many people are taking their lives and not one of them is doing anything about it, And that for me, I was like, if I build a company, when I build this company, it should give back. The main focus isn't the product. The main focus is building the generations behind you so they can keep on living healthy lives,
Well, let's
I
talk
think
about that.
I think that's what it's about.
Let's talk about the model. What is the story behind it now? I mean, when you talk about the tequila, and how is it assisting the military side, the military lives?
Yeah, it's a means to an end. Tequila is a means to get people outside, to get people out on the water, to give them that time. I think it's the first year that's the deadliest for veterans when they get out, because there's a lot going on. Like I was just shown the door, you dropped on your ass. There's nowhere to go. And thankfully I had some friends. I didn't end up homeless, but veterans need time, and then you need that time to learn how to live with your body after what you went through overseas. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of studies done on it. And that's what's going to come out in the documentary, is all this research that's put together that to make it available to the veteran population. You can't expect your body to be the same it was when you first got in. If you live under that amount of stress for 6 years, your body on a physical level, your mind does. It changes. So the hippocampus shrinks, right? A lot of people don't understand that. So bringing veterans on these expeditions and walking them through, like, this is what's going to happen to your body, man. I know you don't think right now that anything's going to happen to you, but it could. When it does, you can do this. There's an outlet. You can't live under that amount of adrenaline for so many years and expect nothing to change. And this kind of shows people how to live healthy, how to live with it. PTSD isn't something that leaves you, you just find a better way to live with it. And that's the end game for this tequila. Yeah, is to bring people out there and show them. And for me, it was very much like you spend those years seeing the worst things this world has to offer, the darkest moments, and those moments just latch on you and they don't leave. So with sailing, you combat those dark moments with the most beautiful moments you've ever experienced in this life. So whenever you have those, setbacks or those moments, you can fall back on, seeing a sunrise with pods of dolphins next to your boat, stars reflecting off the water, then you see a world worth living in again. And for me, that's what it's about is using this tequila company to provide those guys with the same experiences I had, because those experiences have literally kept me alive. The sea saved me.
Absolutely, man. I think that's something that it's a great story behind it, and I think that's where we're kind of coming to an agreement that is powerful. First of all, thank you for your services, obviously, Taylor. I'm not the first to probably tell you that, but that's huge, and I think that you're right. There's just a lot of lost connection, and you don't know how the hell it's even possible that we're not giving more support out there when troops are coming home. Are you struggling to grow your business? Have you ever thought, man, I wish Mike could answer my specific questions about my business? Well, you're in luck, and I can help. Go to michaellevis.com and sign up to schedule a free live on-air call today. That's right. For a limited time, we're recording real business owners with real struggles. How does this tequila, in your opinion, or is there a portion of the proceeds that go to bettering the lives of veterans?
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, right now it's super small. I wish it could be a whole lot bigger. Right now, we can only take out 6-7 guys at a time on the boat, because we only have one boat. And it's bringing those guys out to Patagonia fully funded. They don't pay for anything. All they can offer is their time, and then we'll show them those experiences that are worth living for. That's what it's about for Cape Horn Tequila. So it'll fund the entire expedition. What that percentage is to me, I don't care, dude. I don't take any profit. I'd take enough money to buy food for myself, and then the rest of the money goes to the expeditions, because I really think that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
So,
well, you have
as far as percentage goes, it goes to funding expeditions.
Yeah, you have a great why, and I think tell me about the expedition. Tell our listeners, if they were going to buy some Cape Horn tequila and help. What is the expedition? What kind of experience are they giving the vets?
Yeah. Man, I don't even know where to start.
Sounds awesome, by the way.
I guess I'd have to fall back on the research here now. So the reason why PTSD is so deadly and why it's such a problem is because whenever you experience those dark moments, whenever you experience, losing somebody or being a part of that scenario, your adrenaline's running, right? And there's a direct correlation between memory recall and adrenaline. So when you're living in those moments, your adrenaline's running away and those moments feel very real. Okay. The thing with sailing is your adrenaline's pumping, man. Whenever you're coming out of a storm, you've been fighting a storm for 4 days, your adrenaline's running. But when that sun comes out behind the clouds after 4 days, man, and the water kind of levels out and your adrenaline's still there, that memory is embedded in your brain for the rest of your life, just as equally as those dark moments are. So we're using these awesome, amazing, beautiful moments to combat the nastiest, darkest moments you've lived through. That's what sailing does, man. That's why I love everything about sailing. That's why I still sail to stay healthy today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a workout. I've seen it. I've been on them, but yeah, definitely a lot of work, but looks like a lot of fun. I can see why people have a passion for, the sport really of sailing. What does the expedition entail when you take them out?
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Like I said, we've done one major one. I brought a couple people on boat. Right now I'm sailing veterans around on the coast of Texas while the winter's calming down there. So it's pretty usually you get 5 or 6 guys, veterans who don't know each other, but as soon as they get on the boat, you know, you all have that common ground. You all know and understand without any words ever being spoken exactly what you went through and what you're going through, more importantly, here in the States. So you have that. And it's a comfortable environment where people aren't just like, what do you see over there? You know, what are you doing over there? It's an environment where you can be like, you get it. You can talk about it. And then more importantly, you're there with guys that have lived with those memories and PTSD for the longest time that can share those experiences. Like, this worked for me, man. I didn't think I was going to have that problem, but I did this. And now it's helped my life this way. So it's just building that community, you know, everybody puts those experiences together. And then, you know, you're using the backdrop of Patagonia, you know, the last frontier, the untouched land down there. It's gorgeous. So I don't know. Man, you got my mind running right now.
Awesome.
I'm there.
No, that's great. No, that's what it's about, man. And what are you excited about when we talk about your mind running? Like, what are you excited about when it comes to this business venture of yours?
Oh man, not losing any more of my buddies, honestly. Like,
sure.
There's, you know, you hear all the time about things that are being done for veterans, right? And, you know, there's a lot, but there's still a very real problem with the suicide rate. It hasn't gone down at all, man, because we're doing the same exact thing, right? Past 20 years. We've been at war for 19 years now, and none of the programs have changed. It's one of those things where we keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. It's insane. So using like outdoor adventure therapy for veterans is you know, kind of a frontier now. And it's working for veterans. It's giving them that reason to stay alive. So that's what gets me going. That's what I'm excited about now, is like using those experiences is literally saving people, man. And then I just got chills. I got goosebumps. I can't even tell you how much that means to me. Like, to know that we could do something on a scale that will actually start saving people for real, you know, then we can see a decline in these suicide rates in the States.
I think that there's so much, I can just tell by talking to you here, obviously how much passion you have for it, man. And you should be. And I know it's hard for you to think, why don't others have the same passion for it, man?
Dude, man, it pisses me off.
I know, of course it does. And I think it pisses off a lot of Americans, but I hope that, let's say a podcast before or after, you might be talking to someone that sold their company literally for over $1 billion, and
right.
That kind of money's out there. And then there's also those that are just kind of, struggling to start their company or looking for a different angle, possibly, like your company. Let's get this thing off the ground so we can help support. But all the listeners out there, we're gonna ask you as well, like, how can we support? How can either companies listening that can come in and hopefully donate either cash or assistance somehow at some level, because I think you have a great why behind what you're doing, because most people are talking about profitability, right? And, a lot of people are also involved in their company because they have a passion for it, but this is a different kind of passion, listeners. We're talking about business and life. Let's talk about the life part. And this is what we always talk about on the podcast, that life wins, right? And we're talking about lives that have put their lives literally on the line, and some that have not come back, like your buddies, man. And I'm sorry, and I can't fathom that, because I don't know it, man. Honestly, I don't. So I'm ignorant to how you possibly feel. But what I can do is try to do my best with this outlet and this podcast to try to get the best word out there we can to make sure you get the support. So how can people find your tequila? How can they support? Is there an online process? Is there something that they can do to try to come and buy some bottles to make this thing a win-win?
Yeah, all our information's on capehorntequila.com. Don't say that too fast, because people think you're saying gay porn if you say that in a loud place. So it's Cape Horn, like southern tip of South America. I've had it, man. I can't tell you how long I've messed that up a couple times. They'll give you a funny look, and they're like, "Oh no, I know exactly what you think I'm saying, but I'm not." But yeah, capehorntequila.com.
Cape Horn Tequila, listeners. Cape Horn Tequila, not gay porn tequila. yeah. There's no gay porn tequila out there. If you're thinking about creating that brand, I just don't see it kicking off personally. But hey, I think everyone has an idea and a passion for something. But I would stick with Cape Horn for sure. So okay, they can go online, they can check out Cape Horn Tequila and get some information. Can they order anything there, by the way?
No, not yet. I mean, it'd be the best way to get updates when the bottles, come near you. We're trying to get into Texas first. Texas and California are going to be the big ones we try to get into first. And I think we're so close. I think, I hope a couple months, we've got the tequila now. We just got to find a way in.
What is your email address? I want you to give that on the show. The reason being is that if you're out there and you are in the liquor industry and or know a connection that might be able to help, help Taylor get into any of these distribution channels, or just bottom line, help him scale this business a little bit more so we can give back to the right thing and not the popular thing, that's really important. And so let's hear what your email address is, or is there a way of contacting you from the website?
Oh yeah, on both. My email's on the website. My actual email is taylor@capehorntequila.com. Super simple.
Perfect. Okay, guys, let's rally up, share it, share the podcast. If you think someone can help, that's what it's about. This is what this podcast is here for. It's a medium to be able to get out to people, not to just hear the stories, but also get the stories and see if we can support. And I think this is without a doubt an extremely worthy cause to do so, Taylor. Tell me a little bit about, I guess, really the business angle. Absolutely, yeah, the business angle of it. What is your goal for it?
The goal for the business, like we kind of touched on, is the end game is to fully fund expeditions for veterans. That's why. But with that, it's kind of multifaceted approach. Like if we're going to do it, it's got to be the best, right? It's got to be the best tequila. So a lot goes into the tequila itself. Like we can't, especially if we're behind a program such as veteran expeditions, we can't have a product on the shelf that is less than, it's got to be that awesome. It's got to be worthy of representing veterans. So yeah, making a badass reposado, that's what we're good at. That's what we did, man, for real. The goal when it started was like, okay, we don't really want añejo because you take on that barrel, whatever barrel it's in. So reposado was like where we wanted to go. And then the goal was, okay, well, why don't we make a repo that's better than every single añejo on the shelf right now? That's what we started with. And then it took time, but I think we did it, man. I cried the first time I tasted the tequila when it was done. Awesome. So the goal is to maintain that good product and be better than everybody else on the shelf to represent veterans. And then use that tequila as a platform to bring veterans on these expeditions. I mean, that's the business plan right there.
Awesome. I think that's a great business plan. I cry when I drink tequila too, but for different reasons. Well, I want to thank you for jumping on. I know that you're in a position that you're trying to get the word out, and I hope that we're able to help to do that, right? And I like to do that with listeners across the country and the world to hear the story. You got a great story, man. You got a great product. I'm sure it's a great product, and hopefully more and more people get the chance to taste it. But first, I think the best angle right now is to ask our listeners to share this, to jump on the website, share the website on your social media. Let's get some traffic out there. And if you have an angle to help out Taylor that's in the wine and spirits world, connect them. Okay, we all know someone that knows someone that knows someone, right? Let's connect the dots here. We have a very awesome platform to do it on the audio and the video of this podcast that we're going to share to our tens of thousands of listeners. However, it is important that I think that we get the word out to companies, not only like this, but others. But this is a chance to not necessarily open up your wallet right now, but definitely just open up your heart and see what's in there in terms of your Rolodex and help out Taylor.
Oh man, I can't thank you enough. It's so cool. And it's being a part of these communities and being part of your community, these podcasts is, honestly what keeps me going forward is this is where people congregate that have that mentality, that want to do something good in this world. And everybody kind of picks each other up. I can't tell you enough. I hope I get to shake everybody's hand one day or shake yours, take you out sailing sometime. Hey
man, I would love to do that. I'm in Texas every once in a while, but if I'm ever close to your area, I definitely will look you up. I just want to say continuously, work your ass off, man. You have a worthy cause. I know that's not going to be a hard thing for you to do. That's just kind of in your blood. You can tell you're damn passionate about it. And you have a really good why. And that just means never give up. Keep rocking. Like you said, take the other no's as motivation. And if you have any other questions or you need any help from me, you let me know.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's really cool. If you want to see the documentary that's coming out, it's on Heller High Seas. It's called Heller High Seas, hellerhighseas.com. That covers the first expedition. So, I'm not making any of this up. It'll get your heart going too if you watch it.
So where do we find Heller High Seas?
Yeah, hellerhighseas.com. And that's got the trailer and all the information about our first expedition down to Cape Horn and why we're doing this. If anybody else is interested in the sailing aspect of it all.
Awesome. I'll make sure we put that in the show notes, hellerhighseas.com. You can type in the show notes when this goes live and you're hearing this. It's going to be live on michaellevis.com. and take a look at. And you can just type in, Taylor, type in hellerhighseas.com and or just simply Cape Horn Tequila to make sure that you can find those and find out all those links so we can hyperlink that back there so you can see what this experience is about, but also hopefully support. Thank you so much, Taylor. I appreciate your time, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, we'll talk to you later.
Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Libas, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do, so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.